Hello to everybody. Today we are going to talk about the new SNi50, which is the new product from Stormshield. E stands for industry, and this is a new product for demanding environment. Today we are going to look at it and to discuss about all the features that there are inside this product. We will talk about 9 points, and there is a little bonus at the end if you stay with us until the end. So let's start to talk about robustness. So, robustness. The first things that we can see is the case. It has been created to operate in a heavy condition. So there is a range of temperature which is -40 to +70 degrees. It is IP40, so it means that it's protected against bugs up to 1 millimeter, and it's also free from bugs inside. And it is not only designed to work in the industry, but in every field where you have to resist in a heavy condition. The SNi50 has an incredible mean time between failure, which is 108 years, which is an incredible amount of time, which is the time passed from the First World War to today. We have Phoenix contact with the possibility to use a 2-power supply with PreSales, so it's able to detect automatically if there is an issue with the power supply and a switch on the backup power. You have also 2 pairs of pass-on-fail ports. So it means that if you have any fear to put a firewall in front of your PLC or from your PLC and your EHM, you can configure the firewall in transparent mode. You can have a continuity of wire in case of an issue. So for example, if you remove the power supply, the firewall becomes a wire. In addition, if you want to operate a more traditional condition, you can configure the firewall in a cluster with another firewall, so you can create an HA cluster with active passive, and when the master dies, the slave will inherit all the session without to lose any type of communication. The SNi50 comes with 8 ports that they are 2.5 gigabit interfaces with 2 SFP plus port, 10 gigabit fiber. You can configure it as you wish. You have also a USB port and a console port, a USB-C port that you can use to operate with console. The USB can be used, for example, for a USB staging to install the firewall even in remote places where you have no internet connectivity and no people with skills to configure the firewall. So you can provide the configuration with a separate USB key and simply start the firewall and boot the firewall with the USB key, and will automatically install all the update and all the configuration. When it comes to ISE 62443, what you have to do is to divide your network in segment, in zone, and to authorize only the necessary communication between the zone, which is quite difficult in an industrial environment where you cannot stop the production. You cannot go in an industrial environment and say, okay, we have to stop everything because we have to do segmentation, we have to change the routing, we have to change the address plan. With Stormshield, you can configure each port as you wish. You can reflect your existing configuration. No matter if your network is flat, you can segment the network with the firewall inside with a kind of virtual segmentation that allows you to create and to divide your network in segment and to secure your network without to have to touch the address plan of the existing network. So, until now we have seen what there is outside of the SNi50, but it's really interesting what we have inside, because Stormshield has worked a lot on the industrial protocol, so we are able to inspect, thanks to specific plugins in the kernel, a lot of industrial protocol to recreate the status, and it's not just a signature analysis, but we recreate directly in the kernel of the firewall the status. And so for each session we know the status, and we can anticipate, we can predict the next packet, and we can tell if the packet is aligned with the communication, or there is a possible injection, a possible hijacking of the communication, or more simple, if there is an anomaly in the configuration or in the network, like for example an asymmetric routing or a switch which is not properly configured. We mentioned industrial protocols. So we are able to inspect many industrial protocols like OPC Classic, OPC UA, Ethernet IP, CIP, S7, S7+, Modbus, LACBus, Softbus, IEC104, IEC61850, so MMS, Goose, SV. What we can do with this type of protocol? We can inspect the protocol, we can decide what are the commands that are authorized and what are the commands that has to be blocked, and we can create templates and assign templates to user, to groups, or to a group of host or PLC. And so we can say what is the normal traffic in the network and what is not normal and has to be blocked. Regarding the graphical user interface for the configuration, it's totally drag and drop, really easy to manage, with a part for the configuration and a part for monitoring. So on the same screen you can configure the firewall and you can see what is happening. It's really easy to use, and it's the same interface of all the other firewalls. So it will reduce the learning curve, and if you are already able to manage a traditional Stormshield firewall, you can also manage this type of firewall. The other interesting thing is that you can pass the configuration from this firewall and all the other firewall of the range. It will, in this way, be more easy to create, for example, a digital twins in your virtual environment where you can do tests, and then when the tests are positive, you can deploy the configuration in production. What about performance? 20 gigabit of throughput in firewall mode, 9 gigabit of throughput in IMX mode, and 5.7 gigabit of throughput if you want to use the firewall as a termination to access in VPN, or if you want to do VPN side to side. But the real value that is quite important in the operational networks is the latency. Many industrial protocols, they don't like to be managed with firewall with a signature approach, because a signature approach is introducing latency, and certain protocols like for example Profinet RT, or in the energy sector Goose and SV, they don't like latency. Stormshield SNi50, thanks to the hardware and thanks to the plugin system we have developed, can reach a latency of 83 microseconds with the charge of the 80% of the firewall, which is perfect to work in any operational network. The SNi50 is part of a range with SNi10, SNi20, and more traditional firewall, because not all the operational network need a ruggedized device. Sometimes you have to analyze industrial protocol in an environment which is not extreme, so you need a more traditional firewall. The interface is the same, and so you can use this firewall with the other firewall in order to fit your needs. You can find for sure your solution within our range. Stormshield has decided to work with most of the most important cybersecurity agency in Europe. Of course, we are coming from France, so we work a lot with the French one, which is the ANSI. And we submit the firewall to the certification and the qualification. There is a really big difference between the two, because with the qualification, we provide also the source code, which is analyzed. And thanks to the collaboration with ANSI, we can guarantee that we create not only a robust hardware, but also a robust firmware. Okay, I'm Marco, this is the SNi50. If you want to try it, if you want to purchase it, or if you want information about it, don't hesitate to reach us. We will be more than happy to answer to all your questions.